call, you've heard me say and remind you that you'll be around other uplifting, inspired people, and you'd come away with your hair on fire and full of knowledge. Do you feel like you've got a fair shot of that?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So the first thing I want to do is remind you again of another really important part about this, and that is you're different. Society out here is filled with negativity. All they want to do is tear you down to their level of mediocrity. Never forget that God inherently created you for greatness. And it's society's ultimate goal to condition you for mediocrity. All right? So the fact that you are here today, you could be anywhere else you wanted to be on any given Saturday afternoon. Darren's got a toothache and missing the football game. You know, we could be anywhere else doing anything we wanted to do for enjoyment, yet you have made the sacrifice in time, you've made the sacrifice in money, you've made the sacrifice in family and other engagements to be here, learning more, to enable you to do more, to be able to earn more. And that, quite frankly, makes you extraordinarily special. And it's an honor to share a room with such people such as yourself. So go ahead and give yourself a nice hand right now. Now, I took a few notes as everyone was speaking here this afternoon, and it's really awesome the way that Dave's presentation went, because it leads right into what I'm going to talk about. And this comes away from my original mentor in network marketing. See, out there in society, they're going to tell you that there's something wrong with making money. If you are and they're not. All right? My original mentor put it this way, Willis. He says, you know, I've never really met the first really happy broke person. I've never ever met the very first really distraught wealthy person either. You know, money's not everything, but it pretty much requires it to get along in society. You know, having money is a blessed thing because you can bless others with it. And that's what the model of network marketing does the best. Because like Dave said, it's hard for you to be a champion without you creating other champions. That's the blessing of the multi-level model. Networking, you know, you need that network. Dave said you need a network. And not everybody has a network. You have to develop that at some point in time from ground zero. Now, I always recommend that you read a book called Go Pro from Eric Worre. Here's the way the simplicity of this can begin. And he mentioned this, just getting in it. He was saying it in the psychic manner, which was a sarcastic way of delivering it, just getting a name out of a phone book. You can do that. But I recommend what Eric Worre recommends. And that is every single name that ever comes into your mind, write it down. It could be a child, it could be a grandparent, it could be someone deceased. And the power of that is, that's not necessarily building your network. But by simply writing that person's name down that you just recalled, might jar your thinking into remembering somebody you would have never thought about otherwise. That's a very simplistic way to start populating the list. And that leads right into this. It's not just about who you know in network marketing. It's about who they know, and who they know, and who they know. And through the geometric progression of that building out, you do find superstar networkers. You don't, but it did. You started it, so you get the benefit of it. That's the benefit of how this works. It's not just about your own efforts, or your recruits' own efforts, or their recruits' own efforts. It's an infinite rewarding process. The geometric progression of network marketing, there's nothing stronger on earth than that. Todd Martin illustrated it beautifully in a biblical explanation. Jesus Christ, through a party of 12, one of them wasn't really up to par, spread the gospel to hundreds of millions and still being talked about today. He was the greatest networker of all time. Now, after you begin and start enjoying a home-based business, working for yourself, being the master of your own destiny, Marcy, it doesn't take long for you to become mentally unemployable. It's hard to go back to that old framework that we're going to talk about in a minute. But once you get there, it's so easy for procrastination, as Dave talked about, to set in. And you get up like I do, I'll be honest, sometimes later. And then you go over to your list and you find a psychic way of dissolving it so you don't have to face reality. It happens. If you do that long enough, it will produce what he said. What you're blessed with today can disappear in an instant. Do not ever take that for granted. If you're ever fortunate enough, and you will be if you employ what we're going to teach you, once that starts happening, don't take it for granted. Appreciate that like it's your next breath of fresh air. You know, another thing that happens along this process, you know, Dave said not to be afraid of, the people don't want to be afraid of themselves. Well, really, everybody that you share this with, some people are going to be really ignorant and not get it. We know that, but most people say no for one primary reason. Oh, they'll tell you everything under the sun, moon, stars, and quasars, rhymes and reasons why they don't want to do it. But basically, the primary reason is they don't have the self-confidence within themselves to see themselves doing what you're doing. Because they've been so well conditioned out here in society in that mediocrity model. Their dreams, their wishes, their wants and desires have literally been beat out of them. And that's why they don't join you for the most part. Don't forget that. And take Darren's advice. In that process, no's not no forever. It's just no for right now. Things change. So you always want to leave that prospect open-minded and in a good frame of mind so you can check back with them and leave them with this mind frame. Hey, you know, I understand this is not for you at this point. Would you mind if I check back with you at a later date, you know, a few months down the road? Folks, I got to tell you right there, you're establishing a relationship, you're establishing professionalism, and you're giving that person hope. You're sharing with them that you care about them. There is no way, Carrie, that they're going to tell you no, that you cannot check back with them in a couple months. And if they do, trust me, that's not the right person. You don't want to be checking on them again anyway. Now, I loved this first time that Dave ever said it on a corporate call. I think I was doing the next corporate call and I referenced it. You can, in fact, lead a horse to water, but you cannot make the horse drink. You can also lead a human to knowledge, but you can't make them think. When he keeps referencing over and over and over, finding a comfort zone away from the fear of being told no by going more into product knowledge, we're all guilty of that. We're all guilty of that. You know, but keep this in mind. When you present something to somebody, close and stay closed. He who speaks first next loses always. So if he was offering at the gym in the high pressure way he was doing that a minute ago, you see little hinges swing big doors? You see how he was talking to Jim, said would be a good time to start, and he's nodding affirmatively? You cannot shake your head no with me doing that. You know, you just can't. You know, I watched a car sales movie once called Suckers. And the sales manager is telling the sales team, have you seen it? And he's referring to the customers as a-holes, basically. He says, you smile and you start nodding, and soon enough, the a-hole starts smiling and nodding back with you. That's just sales 101. And no, this is not sales prototypically. It's more sharing, and I love the Mother Oates reference to that. But let's face it, to be good at it in the historical fashion that it's been offered out here, for the last 70-some years, you're going to have to possess a strong sales skill set. Typically, in other opportunities, you would have to have closer type of skills, or know somebody that's willing to help you with those skills, because you're going to have to come in and ask for the personal information and the payment information. So even though you might have been just sharing in a sample form and following back up, and it led to the enrollment process, at some point in time, you're going to have to get to that painful process of getting out that plastic. You know, we're going to develop some tools as we go forward that's going to give you systems that are going to make things very simple. That's another thing that new companies, where we are in life, have to develop. Here's a principle you have to understand. Most people in life, especially in this model, have to be told what to do. The dilemma is, when you start in this business, most of you don't have the ability to tell anybody else what to do. So if you have a system, a simple track record to run on, hey, this is how you do the business, hey, this is how you get the most for your buck, it takes that away. And then you practice that long enough, and before long, you're getting up and speaking dynamically like Darren Gillum. You're up here into a comp plan like Mr. Percival. You may even own your own company one day like Mr. Austin. But it all starts with those little hinges. I love some of the references here. You know, I mentioned the 30 years that Dave and Jim go back, and I don't know exactly when the Willises and Dave met, but they referenced 40 years in the industry too. You know, you got people that's been doing this for 25 years, 30 years, 40 years, 40 years. For those of you that's been in this business less time than that, that has to tell you something that's very worthwhile, rewarding, and just enriching. And no, Jim Rohn teaches it's not perfect. It's not perfect. Nothing ever in life in this realm is. You don't find that till the afterlife. You don't find perfection on earth. But I assure you, it is better. Better than what? Earning a living in any other way that you can imagine. We'll cover that in just a minute. Carrie, and your why that makes you cry. I mean, it's hard not to cry when you think about the difference that this has made in your son's life. I saw him back there asleep not so long ago when we first met. That wouldn't happen, would it? You'd have been climbing on the ceiling. The guy run to a meeting we had in Cookeville, Tennessee once. What, 11 miles or something? Just for something to do, right? You didn't need to get there. You didn't even really want to be there around a bunch of pyramid schemers. But he literally done that for an hour. He was back there asleep, folks. That's the miraculous power of our world-class products. Darren's peak, pass, and plug process displayed and illustrated through the baseball analogy. Perfect and right on time. It'll feed right into this. And Jim and Dave both spoke about the $500 a month club. That is so precious and important for so many reasons, folks. First of all, as Dave so vividly and expertly and clearly explained, it's attainable. You know, most people in network marketing never receive a paycheck. And some of them that do will spend 10 times the amount that they earn back and be just as tickled as a pig in slop, you know. So you have to understand the importance of that $500 a month club. For that reason. For another reason, if we can't show you and help you reach $500 a month, how in the world could we possibly get you to the fabled amounts that you hear about in our industry, the $5,000 a month club or the $50,000 a month club? How can we get you there? How can you get there? How can I get there if we're not seeing $500 a month really attainable? Another thing that does, Jim pointed out the differences it makes in a monthly income or a monthly household income. You know, with that, it said, because I used to be a financial planner, that $300 a month, this was back in the 90s, late 90s, early 2000s, but at that point around $300 a month would have prevented around 75% of all bankruptcies. Mm-hmm. That's the importance of the $500 a month club, and the fact that our company, our humble company, our family-owned, non-corporate bull junk company is willing to rally around a $500 a month club, that's just remarkable. That's putting your shield out on the street and saying, listen, I don't care what your plastic fantastic companies and historically has happened in network marketing. I don't care about that. We're going to show you something wholesome, something worthwhile, something effective and affordable and attainable. Do you want to join me, Willis?
Yes.
Are you with me?
Yes.
You and Linda?
Yes.
You both in?
No.
Are you in?
Yep.
We're
in. All right, so we'll fly right into this. This is the guy I talk about all the time. This is Paul Orderson. This was my original mentor, not my original sponsor, but the guy that taught us the business. And he was a really remarkable guy, just as common as cornbread. I mean, he would have made Jim Percival look like a whippersnapper. But don't take that the wrong way. You know what I mean. But he taught me early on that to have success in network marketing with average people, your opportunity needs to include 3 vital elements. It needs to include simple, effective, and affordable. Now, if your opportunity inside network marketing contains those 3 vital elements, then you've got a home run with the masses of average people. If you don't have those 3 vital elements, you still may possess a home run. It just won't be with average people. You'll need people with higher intelligence. You'll need people with more ambition and people with more money to accomplish what simple, affordable, and effective will with the masses of average people. So we'll begin this segment by referencing the Stephen Covey's quote here that says, "Trust is the highest form of human motivation. It brings out the very best in people, but it does take time and patience." I like to replace the first word trust with another word that starts with a T and an R called training. And this becomes somewhat biblical, Gary. Everyone knows the story, I hope, of giving a man a fish and feeding him for a day versus teaching the man to fish and feeding him for life. That's where this begins. It's the very, very precious, crucial origin of this. Now, in this process, Paul, again, taught me to never shortcut the shortcut. You see, I'll never forget running up to him one night, back in around 92 or 3, starstruck. Everybody remember the Michael Jordan commercials, the slogan, everybody wants to be like Mike? Mm-hmm. I want to be like Paul. He was my hero, even though I was trying to play basketball in college at the time. So I walk up to him one night and I say, listen, obviously this is working for you. Assure me it'll work for me. And he says, well, I can't do that. What are you trying to do in life? I said, well, right now I'm in college trying to be a teacher and a coach like you were. And he said, well, why would you want to do that? And I said, well, I'll get short days, summers off, and be able to do what I love. He said, wonderful, all the reasons that I chose that. So let me ask you another question. Let's pretend right now you're through all your college, all your student teaching, and tomorrow's the first day on the job. How long is it till you get to retire? 30 years. Okay. Do you realize what you're going to do for the next 30 years? You're going to spend it broke, looking for some way to add income to your household. Now, I'm not saying it has to be this, but that's in fact what you're going to do. Now, what I'll show you is a way to condense that 30-year period into 3. Friends, that is a shortcut. And he encouraged me to never shortcut the shortcut. You see, this process is pretty simple to understand. In conventional business, in conventional life, I should say, to get a higher than average paying job or career generally requires you go to additional school. Most people equate that with at least a 4-year degree. Could be an associate's for 2 years, could be much, much more into doctorates and so forth, but most people relate that to 4 years in college. Racking up debt before you ever get the piece of paper that says that you can go apply for a job that might pay you some money. Versus a true earn-as-you-learn apprenticeship that we're going to talk about. You see, you have to go through the 4 years of training, and the 4 years of school, and the 4 years of debt, and you have to learn before you get the ability to earn. So with network marketing, you know, a lot of people come into it with varying backgrounds. Sales, insurance, finance, teaching, coaching, evangelism, you name it. And they think because they've had success in what they do, that they know how to do what we're talking about. And simply said, they don't. Simply put, you don't know what you don't know. You know, to come into network marketing and think you can just run right out and be successful and actually earn what you're worth, Marcy, that's kind of naive. You're going to have to learn. You're going to have to learn principles. You're going to have to apply those principles. You're going to have to get out there and fail and fall down and get back up and enjoy this whole process. You know, I've never known of anybody that's earned what they were worth in year 1 in network marketing. Never really heard of anybody earning what they were truly worth in year 2 either. Years 3 through 5, some of the more ambitious people can truly earn what you're worth. But Darlene, here's the rub. If you just stay the course, if you don't give up, if you apply the principles, and you learn, and you fall down, and you get up, and you get better, years 4, 5, 6, and beyond, you and everybody in here, you have the ability to earn more money than anybody's worth. That's the glorious part about network marketing. Now, it's understandable why anybody without experience or is newly introduced to network marketing can be skeptical, because only 8% of the population participate. That leaves 9 out of 10 that are going to tell you no, Susan. Just be ready for it. Be prepared to eat no's like Cheerios. But the 8% of us that do participate, we produce about $178 billion a year with a B. Now, I want to make sure you understand how big a figure that is. Everybody understands a million's a big number, right? Do you understand how much bigger a billion is? Most don't. So I'll give you an example in time. Stephanie, let's say I offered you 1,000,000 seconds. I would offer you 11 days. If I offer you 1,000,000,000 seconds, I offer you 32 years. And we produce $178 billion a year, the ones of us that are willing to get told no most of the time for a living. Here's a graph that really breaks this down for you. Major League Baseball produces about $7 billion a year in revenues. Football produces about $9 billion. Well, they did. The music industry produces about $16 billion. The movie industry produces about $80 billion. Well, I guess they did. But we produce more than all of that in combination. So that means the people, the excited entrepreneurs getting mailbox residual money, getting told no, being willing to do more to earn more, we produce more than all the actors, singers, and athletes in combination. That's something to be very, very proud of. Now, what that breaks down to is we're paying out a 40% clip of that. That's about $71 billion a year, or $6 billion a month. Network marketing entrepreneurs are receiving in their mailbox almost per month as much as baseball grosses per year. So this $500 a month club that we're showing you that is attainable and feasible can lead to greater riches than you could ever imagine. I mean, my original mentor that I talked about this morning, he earned around $70 million in network marketing and then started his own company. He done that as an entrepreneur. It's unlimited. The only thing that can keep you from enjoying this type of success is you. That's $200 million a day, by the way, that the entrepreneurs network marketing are receiving. So what's to keep you from it? We've talked about it in different varying forms all day. That all-powerful, almighty word, no. Marcy, as a child, I'll guarantee you, that was all the motivation, inspiration you ever had to be told to go do something you were told not to do. Right? But see, on the first day of the first grade, in the public indoctrination system, we're taught to start accepting that. Completely going against God's inherent plans for greatness in you and to cruise right on into mediocrity. You see, your formative mind is firmly planted in front of a maniac telling you to go along that the local, state, and federal government programs are on your side. And they are if you want to be, average. They're conditioning you to just go along and to keep your nose clean for about 20 years. So you can get that good paying job for about the next 30 years. Your reward, darling, at that point, you get to turn around and retire on about 40% of what you couldn't already live on. That's mediocrity. That's not exploring the greatness inherently designed inside you. But that's what you start learning here. And that's what we have to overcome out here. See, they think we're different. I'm telling you you're different. I'm telling you you're special. And I'm going to prove it in the further slides. So how do you get over everything you've been taught in life and everything you have to face in life? You have to get mentally prepared. And that starts with this, one of my favorite slogans. The body achieves what the mind believes. Everybody believe that? Mm-hmm. All right. Do you understand that your body, that your mind believes what your body says, and your body does what your mind tells it? Your mind only hears what your body says, or lets it hear. And then your body does what the mind dictates. If you understand that, then you realize you're the master of your own destiny. And the only person that can stand in front of what you want in life is the person in that compact that he was showing you a while ago, the person standing in the mirror. It's the person in the mirror that will prevent you from achieving greatness, not the people in society. So how does this get started? How do you get to this point mentally? It's called personal development. And I love it beyond. When network marketing is simply referred to as personal development with a compensation plan attached to it. Really, that's all it is. Dave talked about that. It's not the magic in the product. It's not what you have to offer. It's that you have the right mindset and you offer it the right way. So how do you go about doing this? Well, I recommend a couple of forms. There's hundreds, probably thousands, all kinds of inspirational, motivational advice you can seek out there. But these are my two favorites. I recommend Eric Worre's Go Pro. In fact, if there was a Bible for network marketing, that's it, folks. Now, if you've not read it, you owe it to yourself to read it, right? Now, I'm not a real disciplined reader, but when I finally was convinced that I needed to read this, Dave, I made myself a bargain. I made myself a deal that I would read 5 pages of a night gym before I went to bed. The first night, I was on page 40 before I knew what I was doing. And I intentionally set it down so I wouldn't dilute what I was reading. It's a very inexpensive purchase on Amazon, around $12, something like that, $10, $12 in paperback fashion. And then, of course, you got the great Jim Rohn. He's got a whole library. My favorite is Building Your Network Marketing Business. That's a free listen on Google. Just Google it up. These gentlemen tell you things that are nuts and bolts vital for your ability to withstand society's negativity. Not just in network marketing, but in general. This is going to teach you life lessons. by example, on page 18 in Go Pro, Eric Worre's telling you, by this point, it's not blue collar, it's not white collar, it's not traditional business ownership, investing, or sales. But network marketing is somewhat a combination of all that. But there's absolutely a catch to network marketing that most people will not tell you. And that is, you must accept a temporary loss of social esteem from ignorant people. That means for a while, people still living and trying to function in the old system will think less of you, Willis. They won't understand. They'll think you're crazy for being involved in network marketing. You see, they're still held down by the chains that bind from society. You've broke free of those, and they're not real happy about that just yet. Everybody get a good look at this picture. Now, imagine you're in that picture. Now let's pretend it's Sunday morning. Everybody close your eyes. Every head bowed, all eyes closed. Now you're in this picture. And the warden comes up to you one day. And he says you're free to leave. Now you can open your eyes. Now that he said you're free to leave, Darren, he thinks it's going to be a good idea for you to come back in and talk to them. How happy they're going to be to see you. They're still trapped in that old system. They're still held down by the chains that bind. You've broke free, and that's the last thing they want to see you do. They want you suffering their demise like the fellow crab in the pot. You know how that works? If you're boiling crabs, my favorite crawfish, if you put them in live, like they all start out at some point in time, there'll be one or two getting ready to crawl over the side, and their buddy just pull them back in. Knowing he has no chance of escape, it's just nature. It's just the way it is. There's a reason your friends, the people you know that don't do much, there's a very good reason they're on the couch with the bonbons and the remote control. And that's because we're all designed the same way, you and them. We're either going to be willing to do more to earn more in life, or we'll absolutely figure out a way to do less for the same. It's just human nature, and there's no getting around it. Again, you deserve a real big pat on the back, because obviously by being here, that illustrates the second part of that equation. Now, Jim Rohn teaches a formal education will make you a living, and a self-education will make you a fortune. What he's talking about there is wages versus profits. Profits are better than wages, he teaches. Think about that. Do you want to work for a boss, or would you rather be the boss? Or better yet, the owner? Now, there's no bad way of earning a living. However you earn a living, you bless God by doing that. However, you do have choices on how you get to go about doing that. So I always point this out at this point. Our industry sometimes references a pyramid scheme. Well, it is a geometric pyramid in structure, like everything else that's good in life. Stephanie, ever bought a car?
Yes.
Sarah, did you go to school?
Yep.
Willis, do you go to church? Mm-hmm. Do you realize all those are pyramids?
Mm-hmm.
Do you realize that? How about this? God disciples, angels us. What geometric form is that? The Egyptians did okay with that geometric form. It's on the back of your money. It really can't hurt you. But if you want to learn about a corporate pyramid scheme, then here it is. And this is structured with the CEO and president, vice presidents, middle management, team leaders, and supervisors, and you usually. There's little to no ability for you to go to here. Every step up the ladder that you get to take, somebody has to be replaced or promoted. And there's only so many spots. Entirely opposite of network marketing in the same geometric shape. See, in network marketing, everybody here, let's say you're starting here, everybody that falls under you are pushing you up, and all of us, as we talked about earlier, are pulling you up to unlimited amounts of positions. So you tell me, which is worse? Being told no some of the time for a living, or being told what to do all the time for a living? That's the choice you get to make. If you choose that corporate pyramid way of going through life, the best you have to hope for, Susan, is that corporate pyramid reward. That'll mean for that 30-year period of time we talked about, you're going to be dictated. That'll start with an alarm clock, transition to a time clock, and you'll in fact for that 30-year period be told for the most part when you can use the restroom. So getting started. Elbert Hubbard says parties that want milk should not seat themselves on a stool in the middle of the field in hopes that the cow will back up to them. It's more than likely not going to happen. But you know, sometimes people sign up in network marketing, like I said earlier today, and they all of a sudden think it's not network marketing. Or they try to figure out elaborate ways around getting told no. And they do all kinds of things except what needs to be done. And that's just rolling up your sleeves and being told no, getting knocked down and getting back up and saying, is that all you got? Keep in mind, this word no, this all-powerful word no, it's just a word, it's just an answer. You're going to be told no more than anything else in life in this industry. You will. Get used to it. But understand, it can't hurt you, Carrie. I get excited when I hear the word no because I know it's just one more answer that I need to hear to get to the one I want to hear, which is yes. Be graciously happy to hear the word no because you're going to hear it more than any other word in this industry. So how you get going with this? Industry standards. I can give you a guaranteed success system on how to have success in network marketing regardless of the opportunity. Anybody interested in that? Oh, come on. If I could show you a guaranteed system, Smith, to have success no matter what opportunity you choose in network marketing, would you be excited about that? Mm-hmm. How about we do some yin and yang here? This side of the fence. Who would be excited about a guaranteed system?
Go with it.
Yeah. All right. Right side.
Yeah.
Left side.
Yeah.
Both sides.
Yeah.
So you're good with guarantees, right? Like the 1% on interest at the CDs, right? Guaranteed to lose money at that rate is what that means. So peak, pass, and plug. What that means is you're piquing people's interest, you're passing them to third-party information, as Darren explained, and you're plugging them into that high-powered, high-pressure closer for the payment information later. If you persistently, consistently do this in network marketing, you will have success. Now, piquing interest, you can do that in all kinds of different ways, by asking affirmative questions, by referring to different things, passing to third-party information. That could be CDs to catalogs to webinars to you name it, and the plug can be as the person of your choice. But something you have to understand here, this is industry standard success model. Guaranteed industry success model. Guaranteed. But we have something precious here. We have something really precious here. Our opportunity in Nutricel isn't as formidable and rigid as industry standards. The great Sam Laffey has created the warmest invitation that you get to extend to prospects ever, ever, ever. That Just Be Facebook page is lights out phenomenal. It can actually be peak and pass. And let's face it, without a sign-up fee, there is no need for a closer, is there, Carrie? Our opportunity is so unique in this regard. You can narrow that peak, pass, plug process, that guaranteed process, down into just basically a warm invitation and a follow-up. It doesn't matter if I'm in a telephone conversation, a text conversation, a Facebook conversation, or an in-person conversation, whether a person's reaching out to me or I'm pitching them. If I'm interested, if it's my motivation to share with them what we do, I gear it in this direction. And you can put your own terminology into this and your own, I certainly encourage you to put your own personality into this. But I'll gear it this way, Willis. Hey, listen, I found some wonderful products and a great opportunity. I'm not going to puke all over you about it. I wouldn't expect you to take my word for it anyway. What I would like to do is add you to a private Facebook page called Just Be. There you and Linda can just be flies on the wall and read over what other people are saying about these awesome products, a great opportunity. Now, keep in mind, as you do that, there's no cost to be involved. And no industry standard auto ship requirements ever. It's completely on your terms. I'll check back with you in a couple of days, see what you think, all right? Here comes that high pressure close.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Now, the most important part here is that you do keep your word and follow up and establish that professionalism. That's more important, that's paramount. It's more important than even if they've looked at the information or not, because it absolutely establishes that professionalism that hopefully will lead you to prosperity with this model. As I said, this can be peak and pass, and I think they wrote a song once that said 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Now, they say timing is everything. And if you've ever heard that, you've heard it said reference to network marketing probably 1,000,000 times. And it's true. It's not everything, but it could be very, very important. Because you've always heard it said this way. Dave, if you ever found the right one at the right time and got involved, you stand to get wealthy. Probably heard that like a million times, right?
Right.
Folks, this is your chance to get filthy, stinking happy. Here's why. The network marketing experts, the analysts, they say right here in a new network marketing company's life, right here around 3 years old, where we are right now, is the most beneficial time to begin for new people. Why is that? Why not here?
Still kinks.
There's going to be a lot of kinks and bumps in the road, more than likely. Matter of fact, 98% of all new network marketing companies completely fail. Did you know that? 98% of all new network marketing companies fail within that period of time. That's one problem. The next problem is there's going to be kinks in the chain that have to be pulled straight, and bumps in the road that have to be smoothed out. Compensation plan changes. Product and ingredient changes. Who knows what kinds of changes? So they're saying this is the best time to be involved around 3 years in business. And that's basically where we are right now. And that's the reasons. But this is ahead of a massive growth trend where Big Mo comes to town looking for you. Everybody know who Big Mo is? Momentum. This trend of growth right here is called critical mass. That's where fortunes are made. That's where your future generations down the road will remember your name always because you're involved here. Don't take this for granted. We've got everything to offer out there to you that we've covered. Don't let that overwhelm you either. Share the opportunity in the way that we're talking about. Don't be a product expert. That's one of the biggest dilemmas you'll run into in our type of opportunity. Robbie used to put it this way, Kerry. He would say, you know, too many times people get in this business and they want to become a doctor. They want to solve the world's problems. You can't solve the world's problems. And you definitely can't help anybody else unless you've helped yourself first. Everybody rode on an airplane? Read the oxygen mask information? You know, take care of yourself and then attend to children? That's what we're talking about here. Not everybody's going to get this. In fact, 9 out of 10 don't. But think about this. The 8% of us that do, less than 1 out of 10 that do, most of them don't have the stamina to make it through that growth trend right there that we're beyond. That we're just now beyond. Right here is basically where we are. Just imagine how bright your future's going to be if you stay the course for 3, 4, 5 years and don't give up and let them win. Folks, right now, as Dave said earlier, we're not on any radar screens. We're unheard of. We're not even a drip in the middle of the ocean. But I assure you, as we go forward, and these health improving stories that you hear about every day keep producing themselves, and the wealth creating stories are presented as a result of that happening, we will in fact create a tsunami of excitement so big it will wash the foundation completely out from underneath the industry of network marketing. I encourage you, don't take that for granted. And whatever you do, folks, don't miss this. Just don't miss this. Thank you.
Thank you, Todd.
Great job, Todd.